Good morning. Today I will be explaining tree generation from the popular manga Kagurabachi, written and illustrated by Takeru Hokuzono. Tree generation, aka dendrokinesis, is a clan sorcery ability utilized by members of the Hishaku. Users of this technique are capable of generating trees in a variety of different sizes for offensive and defensive purposes. All users of this ability have a unique symbol that is engraved on their arms. It is a cut in half circle that is inversed for the two sides and a spike on the end of the first circle. Also, the tree generation ability have these very unique trees with this gritty textured branch and some strange leaves, like almost spikes instead of leaves, like a palm tree, but it's facing the sky instead of, how a palm tree would normally look. The colors of these trees and this mark is unknown, but I personally think it's like green, like all of it is just green, so it kind of fit with the tree aesthetic. Tree generation can be utilized in a defensive method by creating walls of trees to block off opponents' attacks. The trees are quite durable, shown inside of the manga when Chigoro attacks with Cloud Gouger and the tree withstands his blows. A matter of fact, it even regenerates after he attacks the trees. So not only can endure damage from enchanted blades, it can also heal after that. So it's quite strong, quite defensive. In the manga, it isn't really shown any other purposes than the wall blockages, but I theorize that you could possibly use the trees to generate borders around you, or possibly incorporate the border sorcery techniques with the trees to enhance your defense and such. You may even be able to create tree armor to block attacks. I don't know, those are just a few concepts that are thought. We'll get deeper into that in the discussion part of the video, but those are just some concepts that I was thinking about that tree generation could possibly be used for. So tree generation, it isn't shown that much in the manga, as I said, but it is shown that the leaves are quite spiky, like they can pierce through skin, shown inside the first chapter where you see the kid being hauled up by the branches of the trees and the spike stabbing inside of his skin. So it can be used as piercing weapons, shown inside of the first chapter. But we also see that one of the tree users, the sorcerer from the Hishaku, plants seeds inside of people to grow out and just explode them essentially. We also see a very interesting thing that I noted, where he sets commands on the trees. So a certain phrase is uttered or certain information is said, and it will just automatically activate and explode or pierce through anybody that the seeds are put into. So it's another thing where you can set commands on them even if you're not there. So I don't know what uses that could have other than the exploding trees. I'll get into that more in the discussion segment, but that's really what is shown inside of the manga, that you can just plant seeds inside of people and they just explode out of them. So we'll get more into that in the next segment in the discussion of the possible ways that tree generation can be utilized. So now this is the discussions part of the video. Since tree manipulation is such a infrequently seen ability in the series, I decided to have a discussion part on how it could be possibly used in the future of the series. You know, because obviously they are the literal main villains of the series, so we'll definitely see tree manipulation further throughout the show, right? So, first of all, before we even get into the possible uses of the ability, let's just establish that it's most likely a clan ability. Because we do see two people utilizing the tree generation ability, and the only abilities we see utilized more than once throughout the series is clan abilities. So tree generation is definitely a clan ability. We only know two members, and the only thing we know about the clan is that they have a mark on their finger, like this strange circular symbol with the spike on it, right? So I guess that's the mark of the clan, like the utilizing of the ability. The same thing with the storehouse ability and the mask, or the ISO ability and the black eye. So those are the markers of the clan so far. So let's just get into the possible uses of the abilities. First is plant creatures or plant monsters. They could possibly create tree creatures, elemental beings to attack their opponents, generated out of trees and stuff. We don't know if they can make them like semi-alive. I would even say alive, like a golem, like golems of trees and such, or like wolves and just various monsters utilized, created through trees. We know that they can set commands on them, so we don't really know the extent of the commands they can set. Maybe you can set a command and say, bam, this tree will generate into a centipede monster or something, you know what I mean, and attack this person until they're dead or you're destroyed. Also, other plants, we don't know if it's only trees, we don't know if it's only tree generation. It could possibly be plant generation, or they could create various different trees. The trees that we see is this very unique type of tree with these spikes on it, but maybe this tree can sprout out spiked veins, like the leaves on the end of the tree can be just incorporated into vines, and like wrap around opponents to stop their movement or like attack them. Healing flowers, we don't know if they can generate like flowers that can be used for medicinal purposes and such, so that's yet to be seen in the series. Hallucinogenic plants, you could possibly create like flowers that release an aroma that might cause hallucinogenic effects on their opponents. Poisonous plants, we don't know, maybe they can incorporate a poisonous plant into the tree, so whenever they attack their opponents with the spikes, it poisons their opponents also. So yeah. Next possible ability that could be utilized in the series, plant armor. So maybe they like generate a bunch of trees around them to create like an armor for defensive purposes, or like maybe like a humongous armor for like offensive purposes, like augmented things, like maybe like a spiked arm or something, or like a fail on the arm, or just like attacking armor, defensive and offensive armor. You see what I'm saying? Plant sword / whip, right? So I was thinking they could maybe like get like a stick or a branch and like have vines, like as I said, the vines, or like fine piece of tree that they can utilize as a whip, or maybe even like have a spike on like the bush, the branch, for like a sword, you know what I mean? And maybe they can even incorporate that with the hallucinogenic plants or the spikes, you know what I mean? So it can be like pretty cool, like a whip sword. Double shielded barriers. So this is Alright, just for a little background on this, I've noticed in the series that there are, outside of the main techniques, the bloodline techniques that you'll have, or the innate techniques that you have, they can also use this weird transporting technique and this barriers, like outside of their abilities. Now, I don't know if that's like a whole different thing. That's a whole different video to discuss about. I'll probably make another discussion video on the power system of kagurabachi, but essentially this ability only works if that is true, if like the border abilities, like in Jujutsu Kaisen, is different than your innate abilities or your bloodline clan abilities. So like you could create a tree barrier and then a barrier over that, so it's like a double blockage barrier or something. Also, plant octopus, like Doc Octopus with like the plants on his back and such. Maybe you can use that to like get to higher distances and such. Get out of reach of your opponents and attack from long range. You know. Also, obviously, plant spikes like to shoot out shurikens at the opponent of spikes, of plant spikes or something. You know, that too. And also restraining abilities, like you generate a tree to hold someone's leg. But those are the abilities that just came out, popped out of my head. I don't know, maybe there are other uses for the tree generation, but those are just my ideas of it. That's it for this video. Drop a like, subscribe, and I'll be posting other videos this week. Tune in. They're gonna be good, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.